Hello, good day. Welcome to Hug Nation Live. I am John Halcyon Stinn, your host, your container creator, your broadcasting beacon of beautiful, bountiful brothers and sisters and others. We're going to share gratitude together. We're going to set our sights for the day. And if you're watching this recording, you can sink into that gratitude vibe and share in a comment whenever you might be witnessing this transmission. Hopefully, let me check. Yesterday we had some audio issues. It looks like I'm using the right audio equipment right now, because I'd hate for you to miss this. Da-da-da-da-da-da. It's time to sing a song about the times we spend sharing things that are good about us. And if it's hard to think of something good, don't let it be a fuss. Because there's so many good things all around the world. And if you have a little boyfriend or even a little girl, you can find a little thing they do that lights up your heart. Stay a little while, this song is just the start. Good morning. I improv a song and melody every morning, so be kind with your judgment. What are you feeling grateful for today? I am really enjoying the pre-Burning Man energy that I am experiencing, even though I am not attending Black Rock City this year. I spent a lot of the day yesterday working on some videos that were using footage from old burns, and I've got this massive hard drive that's got like all my old just raw footage. It's like a super slow, massive terabyte thing, but it's so I don't keep it plugged in, but occasionally I will go through old folders of, tons of unlabeled GoPro videos and just look at the thumbnails, the icons of them, and go, oh, what's that one? Oh, what's that one? And then I find stuff that's interesting or I don't remember that, oh, that'd be cool. I drag it onto my laptop and then make stuff. And so I'll share one of the things I've been working on. Actually, two things. I made a video to go with that letter that I'm going to give to the temple, or I'm having my friend Brightside bring to the temple. And I also, as I was looking for stuff, I kept finding all these little clips of me dancing at Burning Man, where I, in some state of mind, handed my camera and said, hey, film me for a second. And so I put those all into like a little mini music montage of dancing to a drum and bass song that I created with AI called Dear Burning Man. So I'll play both of those. The other thing, I'm grateful for my beloved Lisa in so many ways, as I tend to be every day, but I showed her the video that I made with the Dear Burning Man letter that I had written and I'd posted and then I printed out to send. And she asked if I was open to a reflection on it. And she pointed out that the final line is, and for this I grieve. And she's like, that doesn't feel consistent the way that you've been talking lately. Like, I recognize that a grief is a part of this, but it seems like mostly you're feeling gratitude. And the way it said now is, I'm grateful for this, but for this I grieve. And so it does end on this kind of like, oh. And at first I was like, I just recorded myself saying it. That's a chunk of extra work. And the more I thought about it, I'm like, I love that suggestion. And so I changed it. And so now instead of saying, you know, my relationship with Burning Man has changed because I have changed. I'm grateful. For this I'm grateful, and for this I grieve. Now it says, for this I grieve, but mostly I'm grateful. And I like that so much better, and it feels so much more accurate, because the truth is I am not in a big state of grief. I am not in a big state of FOMO, fear of missing out. I'm in a state of GOPO, gratitude of past opportunities. If you're here, say hello, leave a comment, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or potentially even Twitch, I think, maybe. And if you say something, I can read it, and the people in those other places can feel your presence and know you're here. But if it's, Saturday morning and you're feeling chill and your hands are covered with honey or chocolate or lube, and you don't want to type on your keyboard, I totally get that. But I'm going to share things that I'm grateful for anyway. I am so grateful for a visit yesterday from my dear friend, Dimitri. We met in 1999, I believe, at a startup called College Club. The business plan was very similar to Facebook's. It was, at the time, it was the world's largest college community site. And, we had 200, 300 employees. We were growing, and this is early web. One of the things that we offered as a site was we let students check their email by phone, because so many people didn't have computers and there was no cell phones, there was no data, there was no Blackberries. But you might have an email address through your school, and a lot of people had no way to check it unless they went to the computer lab. So we had a way where you could call a phone line and get your email read to you. That was one of the things we featured, as well as photo galleries for the brand new digital cameras that people are getting, and message boards with topics, so college students could find people that interested in the same thing as them and build relationships. Anyway, it was a big deal. It was very popular. I was like employee 18. We were on the path. We filed for pre-IPO, and then the internet bubble collapsed, like months before we were ready to go public. But I met Dimitri there, and we left that company to start a company. My first experience with being an entrepreneur, we started a company called Citizen X, which was a webcam-based community, very similar to the way Zoom is now, except our design was cooler, and more based on community and having a constant state. Like, you would have a room that was always open that you could be hosting, and then you could go visit other people's room to see if they were there on cam. But I digress. And then he continued to start company after company, including a company called VO, which was launched like moments after YouTube launched. And eventually VO got bogged down in lawsuits with like Universal and the big Hollywood studios. They won the lawsuit. It basically bankrupted VO, but YouTube was then able to continue on their path and crushing it because of VO. Continued entrepreneur after entrepreneur that he's been involved in. He became the Chief Technical Officer at MySpace, and brought me in as a consultant to help test pilot the new things that they were working on. He basically had the idea where MySpace had kind of had it was on the downswing, and so he pitched that what they should do is make it so easy for everyone to make their own drag and drop websites. Basically, Squarespace. He was pitching Squarespace, and he couldn't get the executives on board. But he brought me in to come in just for Thursday, Friday to Venice, and a big part of my job was like keeping him joyous. So often we would leave work early and go take pink fur bike rides on the Venice boardwalk. So I've been like kind of vibe consultant for a tech company, and I've been chief wisdom officer for another startup food delivery company. But I continue to digress. Years later, after staying in contact through business stuff and working together and being friends, he eventually got to a point in his life where so many things were in flux and in the air. He was in the middle of this huge lawsuit defending the right for user-generated content. The lawsuit was basically, is the company responsible for everything that's uploaded before it gets taken down? Like YouTube would be crushed out of existence if every big media company could sue them in every time a clip from Saturday Night Live got uploaded. So he's in this lawsuit. He has a death in the family, and he just like a week or 2 weeks before Burning Man, he goes, I think I can go to Burning Man. And we went together, brought him, and he experienced the most dramatic transformation I've ever witnessed in another person at Burning Man. I know many people go through them, but it was incredible. Like when he came home, I kept setting up a tripod, and I would record us having conversations because he was in such a Zen state. It was incredible. And he's continued, that kind of calmed after a few weeks. So he went from just being like floating to a awesome entrepreneur with a connection to the 10 principles and deep Alan Watts philosophy, and incredible guy. Anyway, so we've been friends. And I was able to kind of tell him yesterday that he's like a soul brother to me who believes in me, loves me, and has like a faith in me deeper than my own. And countless times when I have felt adrift or insecure, he has either directly given me guidance and comfort, or just knowing that this man I respect so much and is such an accomplished, amazing guy believes in me so much. It's like this. It's like it can calm or tend to the young, scared voices in me. So today I'm feeling so grateful for my friend Dimitri and our relationship. He now has 5 children. And they're amazing, and he's amazing, and he's very busy, but it makes it a special treat when we get to hang out one-on-one. So grateful for old friends, soul brothers, and people you're going to spend the rest of your life with. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for letting me go on a little rant there. Hello, Kimberly. Kimberly says, I am so thankful and grateful for the most precious community. I love that I met you in 2008 or so. Oh, yay. Well, so nice to share this moment with you. Thanks for being here. Sherry, grateful for dogs, grateful for art, seeing friends, Burning Man pilgrimage posts, grateful for sunrises, beaches, grateful for house music, grateful for little things that lift my heart. And if you missed, I'm going to share the Burning Man videos that I made yesterday in just a moment. Kimberly says, honestly, I'm so grateful for Facebook no matter how much people don't love it. I find so many beautiful friends. I love that I wouldn't have seen you again off the playa, and here you are, the most precious man. I'm praying that you're back and your body is doing better, and I'd love to talk with you soon. Thank you. My back and the shoulder issues that I had a couple years ago are totally being managed right now. I'm doing great. I'm doing physical therapy for a couple of the injuries, but that's progressing slowly, and I'm feeling very blessed to be in a functioning body and feeling healthy. Thank you. Good morning, Mingle. I love you too. I am so energized and excited knowing that you are prepping for the burn and knowing that you've got a big, obnoxious picture of my face to put in shotgun so you can drive together. Mingle is going to be one of the people leading the Pink Ride this year, Thursday at Burning Man. Started at Pink Heart at 9 and Esplanade. So if you're going to the burn, I really think you will enjoy it. I really, really, really do. It's always been my highlight of my year. And even though I'm not here, it's being led by some of my favorite people who so get it. And it's going to be epic, unforgettable. I got a message from somebody yesterday. Because I was, right about not going. And someone left a comment that I'm going to share because it was so touching, and you just never know. I only went to 5 Burning Mans, but had one of my favorite, most intense moments during your pre-ride talk that left me and my buddy inspired and mesmerized. We were so impacted by what you shared, we couldn't just get up and get on our bikes when you were done. As a matter of fact, we had to lay there and just weep and laugh and laugh and weep. By the time we recovered enough to start looking for our bikes, the ride was long gone, and we did good just to get on our bikes and ride back to camp. Thank you for one of life's most enjoyable and meaningful occasions. I'm leading a men's group in a couple weeks, and it has not sold out. And that old judgmental parts of myself are really doing their best to make me feel unworthy. And so hearing something like that it's really nice. I mean, I know that being dependent on external validation is dangerous, but hey, I'm human. I'm susceptible to it for sure. Good morning, Kerbot. Good morning, Chris. Chris says, grateful for some pre-playa chill before the craziness starts for me. Grateful for my RV mates for picking up the RV today in LA and driving up to BRC so I can arrive and thrive on Wednesday. Oh, that sounds great. Oh my gosh, I'm jelly. Harold says, I love that I've known you. I've known you without ever meeting you for so many years, even since Citizen X days. Were you here when I was talking about Citizen X and Dimitri? No, I said webcam community, but that's Citizen X. Dude, we are old school. That's awesome, Harold. So cool. I try to explain Citizen X to people. People do not get how way ahead of its time it was. I mean, the technology wasn't quite there, so like webcams took a lot of effort, and most of us were using like JavaScript uploading still images. Those were our webcams. But the way it functioned as a webcam community, there's still nothing like it. Zoom has webcam functionality where you can see, other people's faces, which is what we had. We had, your room, and then you had the people that were in your room would have a thumbnail of them, so it felt like a sense of space, like Zoom now is. But what we had was somebody who's in the audience could, after someone was talking or they left the room, you could chat and say, hey, I'm going to go to my room and show all my new outfits if anybody wants to come over and follow me. And then everyone would go to their room and could move around and see where people were hanging out. You go to the directory and say, where is everybody? Oh, there's a bunch of people at that person's room. There was also, you could set it private or not private or open, and you could, but man, I am surprised that does not exist. And good to see you again, Harold. Gerbot says, grateful the trailer issue that came up happened in town and on a day the parts store is open. And for friends who are flexible with changes to schedule, we're on playa time. I know exactly how that feels. I totally know that idea of like, It's Friday. There's still going to be mechanics, working. This is perfect. Great. I'm so glad we broke down today instead of breaking down somewhere on a Saturday and getting towed to some place that isn't going to even open until Monday. And so I am grateful for your beautiful attitude of surrender and recognition of how the Burning Man experience is definitely one that we do not control. Good morning, Sid. Sid says, grateful for having the resources to navigate emergencies. Tire blew out on the freeway last night. Yikes. And we needed to get an overpriced motel room and need to replace all tires. Fingers crossed. Woo! Fingers crossed we don't hit any more road bumps as we drive to Reno. Are you Burning Man bound? Man, I always try to tell people the burn begins, the minute you start preparing, but definitely the minute you leave your house. The adventure has begun. Good morning, Hope. Good morning. Great to see you. Harold saying it was so far ahead of its time. Yeah. Hope says RV delays are real. If you did not catch it, I've shown it here, haven't I? My RV, the Zen lessons of RV ownership. I made it last week. Amy says, I'm grateful for safe flights and good friends. Sending lots of love to you and Asher. Sounds like you're in Chicago. Is that where you said you went? And so grateful for the photos you shared of Asher in nature and the videos. You could just hear his excited, wondrous voice. And those were just beautiful. Thank you for sharing those moments. Mingle says, I have gratitude that your picture is buckled up in the seat next to me. I think you're allowed to use the carpool lane because it's larger than life size. I think my face is bigger than my actual. I'm pretty confident. As Mingle, when I've done the pink ride in the past, I've often brought big canvas prints of my grandpa and sometimes Asher, because when I talk about what's important to life, I have stories that relate to both of them. And the pink ride is very much influenced by Grandpa Caleb. And so I love to have a visual aid to anchor people's imagination to the man who's actually right behind me. That's the face that I like to bring. And so Mingle offered and is bringing a picture of Grandpa and a picture of my face as the founder of the Pink Ride. And feel free to make up stories like I was 8 feet tall and known for taming wild horses and once donated a lung to a rescue dog that, never mind. Maybe not. Don't do that. Hope says, my first year driving a 40-foot RV, that's big. We stalled out at the last pickup in central LA, delayed with everyone on board, 6 hours with no AC. Oh. The Hugmobile is 24 foot, which in my mind, that is the perfect size. You can still U-turn in a large intersection. You can get gas easily. You don't need a spotter for things. 40-footer, oh my. But I've broken down many times in almost every time has been in San Bernardino when the weather's over 100 degrees. And I can't remember if I've told this, but one time we pulled off the freeway and we pulled into a neighborhood and pulled under a tree to just we're gonna have to wait till dark because we were overheating. So we're just hanging out in an RV and people kept going in and out of this house that we were in front of, in and out of this house, in and out of this house. And turns out it was like a drug dealer's house. And after we were there for like 4 hours, this guy runs out of the house. In his mind, he's convinced that we are a undercover surveillance van, and we're cops that parked in front of his house and is surveilling him. And he's like, "Who the fuck are you? You guys cops? Let me see your IDs. Let me see your IDs. You guys." And you know, it was an adventure. In looking at it from years' perspective, it was an adventure. All right, good luck with the trailer. Oh, a memorial, Amy. Well, I sending my love to your family and anyone involved. Chris says, don't feel bad about not being sold out with the men's gathering. I feel that many in your circle might be preoccupied with the burn, so time is definitely an issue for some of us. I think that's true as well. And I kind of, the first time someone mentioned to me, like, oh, the weekend after we get back from the burn, I was like, oh my gosh, as an example of how disconnected I am to what used to be like the only thing on my calendar that I was aware of. Thanks, Chris. Hope saying the same RV lost a speedometer in Gerlach, batteries died on the playa, we lost reverse in Exodus and noticed steel showing through the tires in Reno. I'm surprised we didn't totally flip on the freeway. One of the best parts of not going to Burning Man this year is my awareness of how often I am not worrying about the Hugmobile. How, like, so many hours of either worrying about what else could I work on it, what needs to be fixed, how can I try to make it cooler, what can I, like, or thinking about the ride ahead and being like, hope I make it. And if I have a passenger, then the worrying about I feel so badly that they have to be with me in my adventure of being, delay. Or, I mean, I've been towed back from San Bernardino to San Diego multiple times. They used to have a, like, super RV membership at AAA would give you a 200-mile tow. So I would get towed from San Bernardino. It's like a 2-hour plus tow. No one said yes or no, but so did I show the video of the RV? If not, I'll show it after what I'm going to show you right now, which is, see, I've got a dancing one, and I'm going to show the letter, the Dear Burning Man letter that I've filled with clips from Burning Man, and I'm really happy with. Okay. One second. I wrote this letter to Burning Man and am having a friend bring it to the temple for me. Dear Burning Man, skipping Burning Man for the first time in 26 years is a big deal for me. Feels like I'm saying goodbye to a part of my identity. I mean, I'm still a burner, but it doesn't define me anymore. The 10 principles are fully cooked into who I am, but those ideals live in me independent of the physical events. I was scared to let go, and to be honest, I'm still figuring out all that will replace the foundation that I was once dependent on. But I feel at peace knowing that over the last quarter century, I did everything I could to promote the city and community that benefited my life in so many wonderful ways. The impact of Burning Man has changed me dramatically for the better, and I'd like to believe that my furry pink ripples have changed Black Rock City too. I don't know what our future relationship will be like. I'm sure I'll return, but our relationship is changed as I have changed. For that I grieve, but mostly I am grateful. I'm so pleased. And if you noticed, it ends with gratitude instead of grieving after getting feedback from my beloved Lisa. Gearbot says, sounds like it's time for a new rig. I hear next year was better. I have spent so many hours researching and thinking about Hugmobile version 2.0. The trouble is, so I bought the Hugmobile for $3,000. And I mean, I've since invested probably 30 grand into it, but buying a used RV means you have no idea what on it is not going to be dependable. So, I mean, you can get, like, a new RV is crazy expensive, like crazy expensive. And then you have to decide, do I want a Sprinter van or an RV? Because the advantage of Sprinter, you can park it anywhere. It's so much more convenient. But like, living out of a Sprinter van versus living out of a motorhome, even a small motorhome, is so different. A motorhome is a place you can hang out. It's got a table. You can like invite people in and socialize. And a Sprinter is a place you can sleep and cook and be very space conscious and survive on a camping trip or, cross country. And then, like, the Hugmobile is what they call a Class A. It's got the flat front, which is, I think, a more visually appealing thing. They don't really make small 24-foot Class A's anymore. They figure if you want a small motorhome, you're going to get a Sprinter van. Or the small ones are like truck bodies with like camper shells on top. They call it, I think, a Class C. And honestly, those are ugly. And part of the whole point of the Hugmobile is that it is a piece of art. So every time I go down the road, I struggle to find the right solution. If I get a used one, say I get a used one for 60, 80 grand, is that still so used that I'm going to have all sorts of uncertain repairs? At least with the Hugmobile, I'm aware of the things that can go wrong and have replaced a lot of them. Anyway, Lisa and I we started this conversation again as well, because I think both of us would like to have the option of going someplace and having a bed with us without all of the anxiety and uncertainty that goes with driving the Hugmobile. 1983 Butte. Sherry says, I love you, John. Grateful to be here this morning. Well, if anyone is still here, I'm going to show you the dance video. That it's this footage from dancing everywhere from, I think, 99 to 2024. Not every year, but there's clips from all that stuff. All right. And it's still, if you have anything you're grateful for, I'd love to hear that too. So please share that as a comment.
Dear Burning Man, dear Burning Man, dear Burning Man.
I think it does say something about myself that I enjoy watching and editing video of myself. I don't think it's narcissism. I do think I do have a healthy amount of self-love. And I do enjoy revisiting times of joy. Kim, good morning. Kim says, I plan to buy a Mini Winnie for $20K. I had an RV mechanic go through it and there were $13,000 in repairs. I highly recommend a pre-purchase inspection. Costs $100. Grateful I didn't get duped. Totally. I mean, and the thing is, like, I don't know what year the Mini Winnie was, but even a pre-inspection can say like, yeah, seems to be in good shape for a 10-year-old RV. But an RV, you got to keep in mind that it has everything that can go wrong with it in a car and everything can go wrong with it in a house. And then the car then is got all sorts of extra tension on it from this huge weight on top of it at all times. And then there's also that you've got a new vehicle with all sorts of new stuff that you might not know it's next. Like, I destroyed my motor in like the third year that I owned the Hugmobile. I had this, actually, I did a fundraiser. At the time, I was broke, and I did a GoFundMe, and people chipped in, and we raised $5,000 to put in a rebuilt motor, but new, but had to replace the motor on the Hugmobile very early on. At that point, I bought it for $3,000, and then quite quickly, at $3,000, and then I spent probably $2,000-3,000 just in like painting it and making pink interior and stuff, and then another $5,000. But not, money. I'm talking about it from a scarcity mindset. Priceless. The Hugmobile is one of the things I'm most proud of. Up there with Pink Heart, the Pink Ride, my TEDx talk, Gratitude Circles, Asher. And if you don't know that list or would like to know other things on that list, I encourage you to go to Amazon and purchase Protagonist, which is my book that I go through my 50 projects that I am most proud of. Look at me hustling. Any last gratitudes anyone want to share? I'm grateful it's Saturday. I'm grateful that I'm going to get to meet up with Sean, one of the OG Gratitude Circle participants who we've met in person a number of times, and one of the people that's going to be leading the Pink Ride. He is flown from Hawaii, picking up a rental car right now in San Diego, and then heading to the burn. So we're going to see each other any minute now, and I'm going to give him things to bring to the temple for me, which reminds me of one more thing to write. Janus passed this year, as well as a Pink Heart campmate, Krusty. So I've got the letter to Burning Man from me, an homage to Janus, and I need to have a letter in my head for Krusty to send. Thank you, Mingle. I sure feel your love and appreciation. Thank you for being so kind and open-hearted with me. And I'll extend that to everyone here. Thank you for making me feel so loved and welcome. And thank you for your participation in this morning practice that is a cornerstone of my life. I will, Mingle. Wherever you are, give yourself a big old squeeze, embrace your body, appreciate the state it's in and its constant healing, appreciating our adventures in the past, the lessons, appreciating those best we can, the obstacles that we're currently in that will be lessons or funny stories in the future, appreciating all the wonderful humans in our lives that amplify the richness and the beauty of everything. Let's take a deep breath in. and squeeze each other. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us here, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of this live Hug Nation.